Guys and girls, today we're doing some suspension, bit of a mouthful, on the T5. It's a little bit bouncy over bumps. We've got some new shocks and another little job I didn't mention in the thumbnail. Let's get into it. If you didn't see the last caddy video, we put some front suspension on that. And I have got some Bilstein front shock absorbers for the T5. They're not the posh ones, B14 or whatever they go up to. These are like B1s or something, but they're Bilsteins. Nevertheless, when I built the van, I used old shock absorbers. They were good condition, but it's a little bit bouncy, a little bit wallowy. So I've got some Bilsteins. I'm hoping to improve the ride quality. I have also got, which I can't find, I had it, there it is. I have also got a bit of a grumbling, similar to a wheel bearing, but I don't think it is the wheel bearing. So I've got a drive shaft bearing. I hope it fits. Got a drive shaft bearing, got some Bilstein shock absorbers. Now, when opening a box with pressurised gas in, you want to be careful. You don't just want to plough through the box, you don't want to make a mess, you don't want to burst them. So ideally, use a new blade. Haven't got any new blades here. And no, last video, I used a chainsaw. That's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Let's get something a bit better for the occasion. Now, I must point out, this requires eye protection. Obviously, the chainsaw was a bit overkill. So I've got a bit of a smaller one today. That is how you open a box. The chainsaw made a bit of a mess because it's got teeth on it. As it cut through the box, it made a massive mess. Well, I can report a disc cutter made zero mess. And it's definitely, oh, there's another box inside. You are literally shitting me. Oh no, it's open. And this isn't an unboxing review type video because it's not sponsored. I bought these, paid for these, like everyone else. 135 quid for a pair of Bilstein shock absorbers. I'll put the link to the eBay ad where I purchased them. God, they've got some poke. Anyway, the other box, it just fell open. Maybe with a blade. Let me clear this mess out of the way. I've already got the van on the ramp. I need to get the wheels off. I need to get the drive shaft out, shock absorber out, and all the assembly along the top, I believe. I can't remember. Let me find out. Disc cutter's been put away and I have progressed. We got the wipers out and we got the scuttle panel. Yeah, bit of room to access the top mount bolts. And as you'll see, if I pan back, I have already got one out, nice and quick. Let me show. We got the hub hanging right on the floor, drop links out, nice empty work bay. There's nothing in there. I am going to get the drive shaft out. I believe there's two 30mm bolts up in there. Yep, going to whip that out in a minute and do the bearing, but I want to get the shock absorbers done first. And one thing I am going to try do, there is a modification you can do to gain 12mm of lows for free, and that is a smaller one of these to fit inside the cup. I have seen a few other guys do it, so while I've got it all apart, I'm going to see if I can get this alloy piece machined down so it fits inside this, and then you get 12mm of lowering for free, but I'm not sure about that yet. Brand new springs from Euros, if you remember when I built the van, they were like 50 quid. Well, they haven't gone rusty, they're definitely springy. And the shock absorbers I did paint them, they're still nice. Under a bit of dirt, they're still nice and shiny, would clean up. But I think one or both is a bit baggy. We'll find out when I buzz this top nut off. The springs are slightly loose because they're lowering springs, not a lot's holding it. There's no pressure, so I can undo this nut. If you're taking standard suspension off and standard springs, do not undo that nut without compressing the spring, otherwise you're going to have a bad time. Let's have a look at the other side and get the camera set up. One thing I do want to mention, this is the first maintenance I've done on the van since I've built it. I've done about 7,000 miles, it drives absolutely faultless and it's still driving fine. I'm just wondering if the shock absorbers, the used but refurbished ones I fitted, are slightly baggy. We got some Bilstein ones, we know they're good quality, so we're going to stick them in. I have refreshed my memory undoing the other side and I've got it out in less than 10 minutes. And now I've worked out how to get it out so quick, I'm going to see if I can get this out in less than 5 minutes and we'll see in real time. Because some of you at home might be thinking, "Core, don't fancy tackling shock absorbers on the van," but they're really, really not hard. I'm going straight in and I lower the hub all the way down. I take the bottom wishbone off, or I lower the wishbone, get the drive shaft out. That way you're not binding up, because if you just try and undo the clamp bolts, the pinch bolts that hold the hub to the bottom of the shock and then try beating it down, you end up graunching everything. This video is very similar to the last video, so if you saw both, I do apologise, but it's a different van. It's completely different. I don't know if my Makita gun will undo the hub nut, so big gun to the rescue. This thing would snap a transit wheel nut off, so I don't really use it. Hub nut out, then I'm going to go straight in for the ball joint, and this is an M12 multi-spline. I'm not going to try popping the ball joint out of it because they're quite hard. I'm just going to undo the multi-splines. And when I take things apart, I always give them a wire wheel and a grease. And for this reason, everything comes apart nice and easy. I've done 7,000 miles in this and it is like brand new still. It's a bit dirty, obviously, 7,000 miles, but everything is in fantastic condition. All the nuts and bolts coming out. Now, the only way this won't be real time is if I have to beat the drop link. There is a hex bit, 6mm hex in the middle, but they always round off. Please undo, please undo. I have squirted it with some lubricant. Oh yeah, that's probably because I cleaned the threads and greased it when I put it together 8 months ago. Right, where are we? 18, 18. Now those pinch bolts, if they're the first time, they can be a bit of a pain. So when you do, take them apart, give them a wire wheel in, and then I put some copper grease on. They just come out super easy. Pop the brake lines out the hubs, and then, just like I mentioned in the last video, in the back we've got a groove, and you can get a tool. I'll put a picture up. If you didn't see the last video, if you did see the last video, I apologise, you're seeing the same thing twice. If you didn't, this is an M10 bolt that will cut 2 flat sides on. Put it in the groove, turn it 90 degrees, opens it up. Oh yeah. This is a homemade one because the kit is only M8 and this is M10. Is it going to fit? It just fit in the other side. Come on, we're on real time now. Oh, it don't fit, come on. Yes, it fits, but it is a tighter squeeze than the other side. I think it's going to pop out. It is going to pop out. Literally slid in the other side. And obviously, I've got new discs. Well, not obviously, but I have got new discs. And the brake line is still attached. And so is the track rod end. So when this drops off, I don't just want it to hit the deck. So, I'm going to put something under it basically. I should have found something. I'm eating into my real time. Oh, what have we got? Battery's not ideal, it's got terminals on the top. So don't use a battery, because you've got terminals on the top, metal. But for demonstration purposes, get a block of wood. Ease out, ease out, ease off. Copper mallet, 'cause I don't want to heavily punt in the top of my hub. Look at that. Oh. Makita. Big shout out to my man Philip. And a big shout out to my man Francis. I won't mention any second names, but you know who you are. You support the channel. Much love. Oh, he's pulling on my brake hose a little bit. Just what I said I didn't want to do. Now I'm in a bit of a pickle. Oh, what is going on? Come on, help me out just a little. That is like the length. My battery needs to be like 2 mil taller. I'm currently snagging on my brake hose. Just what I didn't want to do. And there it's out. Oh. Make sure we haven't got metal to metal on those 2 battery posts. And that is how easy it is to get a shock out. Really easy, in fact. Let me reposition the camera. Drop links are still tight, track ends are still tight. Where's my ball joint? Up here. He's still lovely and tight. Wow, absolutely brilliant. I did paint all my hubs, my wishbones and my calipers. I think the calipers need to go red. I believe the colour of the van's a little bit boring, grey and silver. Really like it, but it needs something else, something in your face. So maybe a bit of red calipers. Okay, let's reposition the camera. 21 mil. Now, I do have to stress and mention this again. Do not, under any circumstances, undo that bolt with standard springs. My springs are loose. Yep, that spring's moving, so he's under no tension. Makita's still wedged in this little hole. Yeah, make sure you get some clamps. Because if you try undoing that with a standard spring, pew! I've done it. Like an idiot. I've also got new top mounts as well, but again, I'm looking at them and there's nothing wrong with them. But I do have new top mounts. Now, there is a modification. I've seen on Dtetv this alloy plate. There's a company that sell them. And all it is this ring around the outside. Can we see? Yes, this ring around the outside with the smaller gaps. That's like been lathed off. Now, instead of the cup sitting all the way over it, the cup sits just on this little bit and it gets you that thickness lower for free. I don't have a lathe, but someone down there has. So I'm going to run down there tomorrow and get into lathe both of these down. Let's have a quick look at the shocks. I wonder if I've got new bearings. They sound a bit rough, even though they're probably all right. I need to check the box. Spring. These springs were £50 and they were 60 mil lowering. That shock's got nothing on. So let's try this shock out. Ready? Yes, that's knackered. See that? And the first push had no pressure at all. Is that moving in there? Yes, and the shock moves. Rattles about like a joystick. Let me get the new one. Oh! Gee balls. Does that rattle? Nope. Happy days. So, it should drive nicer. when it all goes back together. I want to clean all this out and get all the debris and everything. Get the blower on it. Yeah. He went like that. He went on. Then I forgot. Then that bearing sits in there. And then you get that machine down. And that sits in there. So at the moment, that sits on top of that. But apparently, with that machine down, that metal piece sits in there. And there's a place online that sells these metal plates machined, 100 odd quid. I'm like, why am I going to pay 100 quid when I've already got them? Worst case, I'll get the grinder on these. If my mate can't do them with the lathe, I'll cut that off with a jigsaw, grinder, anything. I'll just cut it off. 100 quid. I am going to work a few bits out. I'm going to get the drive shaft out, but I'll show you that in the morning, because unfortunately my friend ain't here to use his spring compressor, and I want to get these machined down. So we'll recap tomorrow, but it's come apart nice and easy. I am pumped with that. So it's not the following day, it's the same day. It's like 10 minutes later, and I thought I'd attack this drive shaft bearing. What the hell have I just done with that cutting blade? Oh, where's that gone? Just walked in here with it. Try tidying up, I hear some of you say. Right, it's organised chaos. There's the disc, see? Organised chaos. I knew it was hiding. Anyway, I did try and hammer and chisel the bearing, because when I rotated this not long ago, you can't hear. My microphone's on charge, so we're on the camera microphone. Hopefully it's acceptable. Ding ding. I tried to hammer and chisel it from behind, it ain't coming. So how I normally get a bearing off that won't come off, cut the outer race off. I've already cut most of it, then the disc went. I'm going to cut both sides. Couple of little kiss marks in the drive shaft, but come on. Yes. That is in 2 halves, or it should be. Hammer. Tonya Harding. Don't know what that means, but my favourite YouTuber says it. Oh. Get that off. Then we've got the inner race. We need to do the same again, but you need to cut through it at a funky angle, because I don't want to. You're going to scuff the inner shaft, but you don't want to go all the way through. So I'm just going to graze across it just once. I'm nearly all the way through it. Might be able to do it without grazing it. Now I've got a chisel, metal chisel, in the groove, and it should crack the bearing casing. There it goes. See that? There is the slightest little groove in the drive shaft, but that is fine. Now I've lost this bearing twice in one day. No. Found it. I am going to clean that up, because I don't want to get it half on and then it gets stuck. This is going to make a massive difference, because that was rough as old boots. And then what I will do, oh, looks the same. Oh, that is silky smooth. What I will do is, I haven't got a socket obviously big enough to go over that. So on the inner race, this inner silver bit, I'm going to hit that with a hammer and chisel, then move that side, then this side, then that side, then this side, then that side, and it will work its way on. Maybe I'll time lapse that so you can see. But I am going to clean it up first, because I don't want to get stuck half the way and then it fight me. Let's see how I get on with fitting it. has fallen, the morning has come. It's the following day basically, and I've done the bearing. We saw in the time lapse, got the bearing on, and I did give it a bit of rebuild in a can, obviously, and I did decide in the end not to put or not to get those alloy plates machined down for 12mm. And what I realised is the alloy plates sit on these pads. Now, if I'd have got the alloy plate machined down, that would have sat inside, and that is almost solid metal. These rubber pads are to take the road noise dampening out of the road, and if I'd have sat it inside, I would have ended up with a load more road noise. So I decided against the 12mm drop and go for comfort, as that's why I am fitting Bilstein shocks. So I'm not going to start fitting Bilstein shocks, they're making it worse by having the alloy inside. So yeah, decided against the 12mm drop, got it together in the end last night. Old top mounts were worn. On the new ones, these little pads, there's an extra pad in the middle, they've worn completely flat. I did put it all back together. Let's have a little butcher's, let's have a little pan out. Put it all back together, give everything a bit of a clean up, gave the springs a clean up, looking nice and pretty. Slid together, nice and easy. It came apart easy, went back together just as easy. This side, I'd done last night and then ended up taking it apart again this morning. Reason being, I wanted these boots to be clipped on each end and it had popped off the top. Not happy. So fitted it, took it all apart, played with the boot, stretched it a little bit with a heat gun, got the boot to sit on there nicely. Don't want to damage the new Bilstein shocks, so I've had to do this side twice. And if we pan around this side, all back together as well. I just need to put the fully rebuilt shaft back in, get it back on its wheels and see how it sits. I might get some lowering, and the reason being is the bottoms of my hubs were rusty and these shocks wouldn't slide all the way in properly until I cleaned it with a bit of a belt sander. Don't know if the old shocks were sat like that. If they were, and these ones are all the way in, that means I do get a little bit of lowering for free, but we'll find out when it's back on its wheels. Let's get it. Van's all finished and back on all four. Doesn't sit any lower at the front, so we must have had the last shock absorbers all the way down. And to be honest, I don't really need it to be a low rider. We've got the caddy for low rider. It sits nice. I believe the back sits a skosh higher. When I built the van, one of you commented and said you can get some little rubbers that go under the rear springs. Well, I've got some poly ones that are a bit thick, so I might get some standard ones and that will drop the back just a little bit. But yeah, happy with how it sits. I'm curious to see how it drives. Let's take it for a spin and see how we get on. GoPro was obviously dead. Even though I haven't used it, with the battery in, it runs it completely flat. What a pain in the backside that is. Anyway, so we have done front suspension. It was a little bit, I won't say it was too wallowy over bumps, but it was a little. There's a funny noise at a certain speed. It sounded like a wheel bearing, but I don't think it is, but I don't know. We've changed the bearing on the drive shaft, so we're going to see if that's done anything. And also, before putting all the scuttle panel back together, I did insulate under the scuttle panel. Before I put the wipers in, I insulated with some Dodo sound matting. In the Volkswagen Caddies, the scuttle panel has got a padded piece there, and that makes a massive difference to engine noise inside the cab. These don't have it, so I sound deadened it, and I did do up under the scuttle. So hopefully it makes it a bit quiet, but I don't know. Let's find out. Have we got any tight ass lights in the T5? No, blower's going mental. Happy days. Right, first of all, is it any quieter? Oh, not too bad actually. It's the 1.9. It's the quieter engine. If you've got the 2.5, cool, they sound like a tractor when you first fire them up. So, I'm on a pretty bumpy industrial estate. You guys already know that, so I'm going to know straight away. It feels a bit firmer. actually. Feels good, but it's a bit firmer. Obviously, I only paid 50 quid for some lowering springs, and you get what you pay for. If you buy posh H&R ones, they might sound different. I don't, might feel different, I don't know. But we got cheap ones, all we could afford. But it is a bit firmer. Obviously, the old shocks were a bit woolly, so it might have been a bit bouncier. Thank you. Someone give them away to me, thank you very much. But it does feel good, actually. Oh, I think I mentioned in the shot earlier, I was up till late, maybe near 10 o'clock in the workshop, playing with suspension. And then I was in the workshop again at 7 AM. I am a little bit tired, but we've got to keep the spirits high. You don't want to come in, tune into a Dtetv video and I'm like, yeah, it's alright. You've got to be positive. What a hellico afternoon it is. The sun is shining. It's been raining a bit, that's why the van's dirty, but it's nice today. Well, the van feels good. We're on the Bilstein, can't remember the number, but editor DTE will add in what Bilsteins they are. Bilstein, same meat, different gravy. So I'm waving to everyone today. Hello, hiya, ice cream lady. Van feels good. Bilstein front shocks, they're a bit firmer, but it's not uncomfortable, it's nice. It does feel good. We need to do a few corners, and I'm on a straight road, so that ain't happening. But corner coming up, let's hang it round the corner as fast as possible. Just kidding, but we're going to go around the corner. It feels nice. Steering wheel is so straight. If you remember when I built the van, I pulled the rear arms off, and I've got those cam type bolts that if they're in a different position it puts the tracking out. Well, I just put them back where I marked them. The steering wheel was dead straight. Lovely round that corner. And the reason I went for Bilsteins, I wanted ride quality. I wanted it to ride nice. Missus and the kids are in it with me. Obviously not now, they're not that quiet. I mean every day, so I wanted it comfy for them. I wanted it comfy for me. That's why I went for Bilsteins. I never had a posh set of shocks. We got a nice set on the Caddy last video, and to be honest, I had ordered these Bilstein, I don't know. I'd ordered these shocks, and I've had them sat around for a couple of weeks before I spoke to Max Peding rods and their coilovers, because if I hadn't have paid 130, 140 for these, I would have probably put some Max Peding rods coilovers on it. I believe they sell them, I don't know. I'll have a look. Maybe editor DTE can do a thumbs up or thumbs down whether they sell them or not. And don't forget, put in the product code, saving code, put in the code DTETV, you get 10% off. Oh yeah. Now, if you watch the last Caddy video, we are literally doing the same. You're gonna, some of you might say, "Core, come up with some new content." This video is exactly the same, because I'm literally driving in the same place as I did in the Caddy video. Sorry guys, I'm not trying to be Terminator here. I'll be back. It's very sunny. There's traffic lights up here, if some of you remember from the last video. So, someone's just crossed the road right in front of me. I'm happy with the ride quality of the Bilsteins, the shock absorbers. They are good, it's more stout, it's solid. There is not a single bit of play. And if you remember earlier in the video, I could move the shock in the strut or the strut in the shock. Either way round, one way will do it. But and I think I could feel that slight bit of movement. Oh, the lights have just turned green. Come on, down. Oh, there's something I'll mention in a second, and that's what just happened. Anyway, no movement in these shocks. It drives fantastic. Really happy with the Bilsteins. Not a promotion or paid sponsor or anything like that. Straight cash spondoolies from the pocket. Yeah, happy with that. I need to get to a faster road to hear that noise, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But what I was just on about back there, when I went to boot it, clutch is slipping. Now, when I built the van, just before I bought the van, the seller had just bought and had fitted a new clutch and flywheel. So when I bought the van home, changed the engine, I took the clutch out and I could see it was brand new by looking at it. It was brand new. So I fitted it in this. The clutch hasn't worn out, apart from it started slipping, obviously. But I looked under the van a couple of weeks ago when it started, and I could see golden oil on the bottom of the gearbox. Now, any oil that comes out of a diesel is obviously black. It is what it is. Even if you've just changed it, it's going to be black in 30 seconds. Golden oil running along the bottom of the gearbox. Now, hindsight being a thing or two, I should have replaced the shaft seal. Input shaft, output shaft. If you've ever looked in a gearbox, there's a little shaft. That's what the clutch rides on. The seal was bone dry. Should have changed it anyway, because it has done 287,000 miles. Anyway, long story short, that seal is leaking. It's got my clutch wet. The clutch is slipping. It drives fine. Bite point is at normal place, but if I try to boot it and ask too much of it, it slips. If I was driving this, I could drive this around the world, apart from the gear oil probably leak out. But it needs doing. Unfortunately, I need to have the gearbox off. I need to change the clutch. I will use the flywheel. It's not noisy. It was new. It ain't soaked in oil, I don't think. So I'm going to order a new clutch, get the gearbox off and replace it. I've never done a clutch on one of these. You might say, well, you've had the engine out. That's even worse. Yeah, but I've never done a gearbox separate on one of these. I do know you've got to take the subframe off. Subframe off, wishbone, drop all that down. So that is going to be a video in a few weeks. I'm not looking forward to tackling it. Well, I say I'm not looking forward to it, I don't mind it, but it's the thought of it. I've got to lay underneath it. I can't get it on the ramp. I can only get it up so high. So it's not at the top of the list. It is at the top of the list, it needs doing. But mentally, it's down the list. But we will do it nevertheless. I have got a wheel bearing out at the back. Since doing the carpet lining, can't really hear it that much, but I know it's there. Anyway, clutch needs doing, wheel bearing needs doing. Still a few bits to do on this, but I'm going to chip through them. Runs and drives great. Happy days. Quick edit. This is future DTE. So whatever that last guy was on about, it's all about this anyway. A lot of you guys keep asking for stickers. Big love, really appreciate that. I put the order in today. Today. Thousands. Different colours, few different slogans. Oh yeah, the little play button, the usual ones you've seen in the video. I've ordered loads, bear with, and I'll get them all out to you. I need to set up a Shopify or something like that. Or if anyone's got any good suggestions on what selling platform to do, to use, hit me up in the comments. I've got them. I appreciate you all asking. Much love. Just about to get to a dual carriageway. Listen, well, I don't think you guys are going to hear it, because the missus can't hear it. wenches in the seat, but I am attached to the steering wheel. Right, let's clutch slip, speed up a bit slower. There is a T5 behind me, you might see it go past. Clutch slip, speed up a bit gentler, DTE. He's going to overtake me. Here he goes, you might see him in the window. Let's see if I get a wave. Oh yeah! Oh no. No. God, that sun is booming looking at the little screen. Right, noise. I'm at 60. So I can hear the rear left wheel bearing. I can still hear that noise. So let me take my shades off so I can hear better. I can't actually, it's absolutely booming sunny. GoPro having a meltdown in all that sun. Right, I can still hear that noise. So it changes with the tone of the road. I don't know if it's a wheel bearing, it might be now. When you're on a smooth road you can't hear it, you can't feel it. You go on a rougher road and you can feel it. It's got a new top mount, it's got a new shock, relatively new spring, new drive shaft bearing. It's not a noisy gearbox because it's over on my driver's side. I can hear it right there. Well anyway, that didn't fix it, but the bearing on the drive shaft before, that was rough, so it needed doing. And the old one had done 287,000 miles. Van drive's really good. I use it every single day. But there's a couple of bits. Anyway, outro from the van. I'm just about to turn into that sun, so let's get this done. Outro from the van. If you found the video useful, give us a thumbs up. All the usual YouTube stuff. I'll see you in the next one, guys. I'm out.